What is the hardest part about brewing a high volume, heavily hopped flagship at that scale, Grant? How do you ensure that the batch running through the canning line is identical to the batch that you ran through 6 months ago? You were talking about this earlier. Here's a chance to really jump in on this.
Oh, for sure. Chaos, it's just like all of our core beers. Yeah. What I love about us is our flagship isn't like a typical one. Most breweries are flagship. You're looking at 70%, 80% of their volume. Chaos pattern is still a huge thing for us, but it's only represents about 38%. That's shifting. Every year, Chaos grows about 25% for us. This year's no exception. We're up 25% over this time last year. So it's really fun. And for us, there's 2 points to Chaos that we want to make sure we maintain. One, that beer's got to taste the same, just like you said. We are always testing and comparing. We keep samples from every batch. We store them in different conditions. We store them cold, perfect ideal conditions. We store them warm. Like you might find on a shelf at a warm, liquor store. We store them in terrible conditions in case someone might have left them behind their condenser at a bar and kind of forgot about them. How does the beer age and how does it change? How do we make sure that no matter what happens to it, it's still going to represent what we want out of this beer? So that, those are weekly tests. We have a full-time lab that is always running those samples. They're always testing it through. The other side of it, Chaos pattern, then is, like you said, is we go out to Yakima every year. We select our hops. We make sure that we can get them as consistent as possible because hops are a crop. Our on the climate, things change. So our goal is to make sure that the blend of hops that we put into Chaos, we can get so that flavor matches. So every year our hops ratios may tweak a little bit, but we're doing that to ensure that Chaos in 25 tastes like Chaos in 26, which will taste like Chaos in 27. So there is a lot of sensory involved for a very hoppy beer. But then the third part that Chaos that's very important for us is making sure we can maintain our pricing. We have not taken a price increase. We don't want to. Where people's disposable income, like we said, is tough right now, and we don't want to add to that burden. So we made the call this year in particular to not take an increase, and actually for our 12 packs we took a price decrease, so people can bring a 12 pack of Chaos home and still and enjoy it and know that they can have that stable thing in the fridge to enjoy. They can go out and kind of get some fun